YouTubers, it's your girl, Lovely Nance, Lovely OT. I am bringing you another OT related video for this week. And today's video, I will be telling you about my 5 top advice for people who are interested in going to OT. And so really this advice can be for someone who is in high school and is looking to go through the 5-year program, or if you are getting your undergrad degree and you want to go for your master's in occupational therapy. So either way, this advice should work for you. So the first advice that I have for someone who is interested in OT is, number 1, make sure that you get a lot of volunteer experience. That's 1.5 is that make sure that you get into some kind of leadership role. So for example, when I was in high school, I always knew that I wanted to go to grad school. I just didn't know exactly what I wanted to go to grad school for. So when I was in high school, I did a lot of volunteer work and I was very engaged in a lot of different clubs. And when I went to college, I also did the same thing. I did a lot of volunteer. I made sure that I got engaged in a lot of different clubs. I was part of the females club. I was part of the orientation leaders. I was part of the talents, TALONS. And I was also part of different groups and clubs like the gospel choir and stuff like that. I think when you are that engaged in those different type of clubs and those different type of leadership skills. Oh, and I was also on the e-board for the females club. I think I was a treasurer for the females club. So I think all those different experience looks really good on your resume. I think a lot of people, the admissions people, what do you call them? I think when someone is looking at your application, that you are a well-rounded individual. So yes, it's good to have all A's, but they don't want to just see that. They want to see someone who has all A's or A's and B's, a good GPA, but also you are able to multitask and you have different experience outside of the classrooms. Well, so getting involved is definitely important. Number 2, clinical hours / shadowing. So I didn't start shadowing until probably my junior year or senior year in college, and I volunteered at two places. I volunteered at a skilled nursing facility and I volunteered at a hand therapy place. This is really different depending on which school you go to. I know some schools do require that you get that, it's a requirement to get into the program to shadow an OT for how many hours that you need. But even if your school is not making you do them, I think at the long run that it will be very beneficial if you do get it. I think that looks good on your resume. It looks good. It kind of also makes you kind of stand out from the crowd because you actually took the next step to get more experience on your own time without being asked. And also, not only that also give you a introduction to OT. At that point, when I did my shadowing, I didn't really know a lot about OT. I was probably less than 10% know what I was doing, but I went there, I shadowed. It kind of gave me an idea of what OTs do on a daily basis, and that kind of made me excited for OT school. Number 3, I'm gonna just give you, this is not really an advice, this is basically information. You will be taking prereqs in order to get into the OT program, especially if you're going from undergrad to grad. I'm not sure about how it works for high school to straight into the OT program. So these are some of the courses that you will be taking. Number 1 is abnormal psychology. Number 2 is lifespan development. Number 3 is statistics. Number 4, some kind of chemistry, biology, physics, but this also depends on the school that you're going to. Functional anatomy, I think I took 1 and 2. And I think that was human development. I think human development is the same thing as a lifespan development. So those classes are very important. Like when you do take those classes, make sure that you're paying attention, because all this information will come back once you start OT school. So those are the prereqs that you probably end up taking before you get accepted into OT program, just so you know. Let's see. Number 4, save money. Okay, so what I did was, after high school, I went to college first, and I majored in psychology, and then I also took my prereqs, and I had a minor in gerontology. And when I graduated undergrad, I took a year off. Now, I didn't really plan to take a year off. It just kind of happened because, it just kind of happened. But I took a year off, and during that year, I basically prepared myself for OT school. So I worked, I got a job with my psychology degree, and it was actually a really good job, and I saved up a lot of money. And that money was very, very, very helpful once I started school. Now, if you don't have the luxury of your parents or your grandparents or whatever helping you pay for school, this is something that you may want to highly consider doing, to take a year off, get some money saved up, and then during that year, you can do shadowing, you can do volunteer work, you can visit different schools that you want to go to, and you're saving money to prepare you for OT school. Even if that money is for your books or rent, it's going to be really, really worth it. So that's another advice that I'll give someone who wants to go to OT school, because OT school is very, very expensive. And I know a lot of people think about the loans, and you may get discouraged if you think about how much OT school is going to cost. And I promise you, I had to take out loans for OT school because there was no way that I was going to be able to pay that amount of money out of pocket. I don't got no grandfather anywhere that's going to help me with anything. So everything had to come from me, taking out loans and helping myself. Of course, my parents are super supportive. They can help me. They helped me as much as they could, but they can only do so much. So yeah. Let's see. So the 5th advice that I have for you is to visit as many schools as you possibly can. And I say that also, not only do you want to visit a lot of schools, but you also want to do a lot of research on different schools that you want to go to. And that will definitely be helpful to get your foot, in the door. And with that advice also is that learn and practice writing your resume. So have a really good resume, have a really good essay, because I know some schools ask for you to write an essay on X, Y, and Z. So make sure those essays are really, really well written. Make sure you have someone else read it and make sure that it sounds good. Make sure that you are telling a story that shows some kind of compassion or passion for the for OT, for the career that you're going into. I think a lot of people look at that. They look at that, the admission console or whatever they are. They look at that too. If you are, I think you can tell a lot about someone based on their essay and what they're saying, and you can tell that they have compassion or they really, really, really enjoy rehab, and that can kind of show in your essay. So make sure that you have someone read it. Make sure you take your time to write it out, and make sure that it's something that moves you even, because the essay that I wrote something that was very, 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 very personal to me, and it's still something that I'm very passionate about. So I think it's always important to do something that you're passionate about. Like, you don't want to do something that you don't care about, you know what I mean? And I see that a lot. Like, you can really tell the difference once you start working from someone who's really passionate about what they're doing and from someone who's doing it just for the money. So just another thing to think about. And my last bonus, I know I said that I'm gonna only give 5 advice. However, my last advice is that you get some kind of mentor. So I know there's not a platform out there yet for OT mentors or yeah, there's not a platform out there yet for mentors and for someone to contact you but I always have that open door policy that anybody can ask me questions, anybody can send me an email, and if I can help them, I will gladly do so, and I'll give them whatever advice that they seek, because I want everybody to succeed. You know, I want everybody to win. I was thinking about starting some kind of platform, OT mentorship program or something like that, to have all the OTs who are interested in mentoring OT students, or even high schoolers who are interested in getting into OT, that they will have some kind of platform to go to join and to ask questions and X, Y, and Z. So that's something that I have in the back of my mind to start to do, to kind of take action on that. So if you guys are interested in mentorship, or if you think that having a platform will be a good idea, let me know down below, and I will surely start working on that. Let's see, I think that was all the advice that I had. Oh, also I had a question from someone asking me about like what to major in once you if you are going from high school to undergrad before you start OT school. And I have a list of different majors that I think would be a good idea. The first one is rehab science. The second one is kinesiology. The third one is exercise science or some kind of athletic training. Psychology, definitely, that's what I did. It really helps a lot. And the last one will be some kind of science major, whatever science major that you want to do. And trust me, when you start OT school, all these different majors will be very, very, very helpful to you. Now, if you want me to extend more on the majors and like the different majors out there to major in before OT school, let me know, and I can make another video next weekend and get into depth about like the different majors. Now, before I go, I wanted to ask you guys to leave me ideas of what videos you guys want to see, because sometimes I'm like, what should I film? Like, I ran out of ideas. So if you guys have any questions, any ideas that you want me to film, you want me to talk about, leave those comments and ideas. I know you guys have some wonderful ideas, so make sure that you leave it down below, and I will greatly appreciate that. Until next time, I love you, be great, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.